A lark and her momster are coming your way. Gonna tell it how it is, so won't you join us today? Deep breath. Deep exhale. Deep exhale. I didn't even do a sound check, but I think that's fine.
Oh, God.
I'm too tired.
I was just going to go...
I'm too tired.
I hear ya.
I'm tired. The world. Not the world. The world is the world.
Well,
Us.
certain parts of the world are still messed up.
Sort of functioning.
Fucked up, but
Functioning a little bit better
than this country
this
is.
one.
For sure.
Yes.
So hi, honey. Hi. Welcome
Hi.
to...
A lark.
And her...
Momster.
That's right. And who's the momster?
You're the momster.
I am the momster.
And I'm the lark. And we
You're the
appreciate you listening out there as we are in pre-apocalyptic worlds.
We're living in the land of what the fuck.
Dystopian lands.
Oh my God.
I can't watch the new season of Handmaid's Tale because it's all too
Real?
real.
It's too real.
It's too
yes,
real.
it's so real. It's
Yes.
unreal. Real.
Unreal. In
Unreal
fact,
real.
In fact,
In fact, with no facts.
this episode, oh my God, in fact, with no facts. I am going to start just spewing random shit and being like, but
Why not?
Science said so. It's scientific.
Yeah, exactly. Even though there's no science behind it.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
No, it's really
Y'all,
scary days. Scary days.
It really is.
But before we get on, or move on, or...
I miss wine.
I'm sorry, honey. I get
Thanks.
to drink it all.
You do.
Yes, so hopefully next week you'll be able to be released.
We'll see what my physical therapist says.
Yes, I'm hoping so. And by the way, your hair looks great.
Thanks.
It's getting long.
Yeah.
I know. I haven't seen it long like that in a long time.
Uh-huh. Well.
How many times can I say long in one sentence?
Long.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I'm going to talk about today's wine, which, most of the time I will buy wine based on the label.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Just because if I like the label, generally the wine's pretty good because I think it shows intention by the winemakers
Oh, okay.
to create something kind of fun and innovative.
Ooh.
Yeah, don't you think so?
So you're judging a book by its cover?
And when it comes to wine,
Okay.
only wine.
Only wine.
This particular wine is Mina Mesa. It's a Pinot Grigio out of California, and it's from the year 2023.
Ah,
A year when there was still sanity in the world.
somewhat. Yes.
Anywho, so this particular wine is renowned for its fearless... I'm sorry, not the wine. The winemakers are renowned for their fearless pursuit of new frontiers.
Ah.
Grape farmers boldly introduced Pinot Grigio grapes. Why are you laughing at me?
I just think it's because we're all new frontiers and we're boldly going where no one's just, I'm tired.
We're boldly going where no one should ever go again,
yeah.
which is back to history.
Backwards.
Yeah, amen. So these grape farmers boldly introduced Pinot Grigio grapes to the Golden State in the 1800s. Like the pioneers at the time, our Pinot Grigio has an adventurous spirit. It's refreshing, crisp, and superbly food-friendly. It's the perfect pairing for any occasion. And I love in the summer a good Pinot Grigio. It just has a good kind of soft... it's my go-to if there's nothing sparkling.
Fair.
Because sparkling is my go-to,
Oh,
generally.
I get it, yeah.
And it has a quote from a 7th-generation farmer named Troy Havati. And that quote is, "My passion is tending land and cultivating high-quality grapes each vintage. That's why I'm up every morning at dawn, working hard and taking on challenges." So
love
let's
that.
just hope that Troy Havati is still in this country. Troy, please have U.S. citizenship.
It's really interesting. This episode, we're going to not make super long, but we're going to have a little bit of a discussion because it is important that we have these discussions about navigating the unexpected and truly unimaginable.
And inconsistent. unexpected, inconsistent, and unimaginable.
I can honestly say I never thought that I would see what's happening right now in my life. Well, as a kid, growing up, never thought this would. This is mind-boggling.
Well, and I went through a lot of, and I talked about it before, a lot of things in the past that spoke to sexism and racism and xenophobia and homophobia, and all of it had progressed so much. And it's really about living in a world where you mind your own damn business.
Well, and just have basic human decency.
And compassion.
Yeah, empathy.
Empathy's important, yes, but that clearly just not, we have about 40% of the population that doesn't have a lot of empathy.
Or brain.
So.
Sorry.
What?
I said or brains. Sorry.
Well, I think they have brains. They're just, their brains are being infiltrated.
That's what I said.
Are being infiltrated by misinformation.
Yeah, and there is a lot of misinformation.
And that misinformation is causing people to not, and the stress of the world is causing people not to dig deeper.
True.
So they're getting something by somebody they think is a newscaster or an expert.
Right.
Or it's validating their own feelings around fear or discomfort or whatever it might be. And they're not digging any deeper. And I know it's easy because I get stuff that, I think, oh, that's shocking. But then I dig a little deeper and I'm like, oh, that's so far on the left, that's not real.
Right.
Because it's not about really left or right.
God, no, not at this point.
It's about finding that middle ground where we can all have civility.
Yes.
And compassion.
Yes.
And empathy.
Yes.
And recognize that what's good for you may not be good for me.
Right.
And what's good for me may not be good for you. So I don't want to live in your world. Right. And I guarantee you don't want to live in my freaking world.
Right. Right.
And that's not what's happening in our country right now. It's this extremism that is exhausting.
Yes.
And creating really unhealthy, unsustainable situations.
Oh, I know, because just this past week, I work in the field of applied behavioral analysis. I have been an RBT, a registered behavior technician or a registered behavior therapist, working with kiddos on the spectrum and working with adults on the spectrum. I've worked with many different ages, and I would never say that I'm an expert in autism at all. Not at all. Right? But I have been in this field for a very long time. I'm still in this field. I have many friends who are on the spectrum. I have seen all levels of the spectrum. And I am shocked and shooketh by what I heard this past week. Because it's not true.
Yeah, and a good example, when somebody goes out and publicly says no person with autism as an adult can take care of themselves,
right,
they are undermining those adults who are on the spectrum.
Temple Grandin.
Who have overcome adversity, challenges, and gone on to have very successful lives.
Yes.
And that's just one person who's on the extreme end of the spectrum that is a public figure. It doesn't count all the others who are out there.
Temple Grandin, who I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's just interesting that he actually said nobody with... I agree. He said nobody with full-on autism is, and can...
What does that mean?
I don't even know. But he said no adult with full-on autism is, maintaining a normal level of living. And that's bullshit, because Temple Grandin, and if you guys don't know who she is, she actually created the most humane way to kill cattle when it came to the meat industry. She was euthanized cattle within the meat industry. There's incredible films about her. She's also a professor. She's spoken about autism her entire life. She's a really incredible human being. I have followed her work, and I have been inspired by her. She's what inspired me to get involved in the ABA field.
That's right. We watched her.
Yeah, I watched her documentary, or her biography, and she's just an incredible woman. So for someone to say that, for me, it was very personal
and cruel.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the other part. There is so much inhumanity and cruelty coming out of this administration. And not just this administration. We live in a state where our state legislators, not all of them,
Oh,
but a large...
you mean the ones who were pictured with the whips?
Those who've also gotten in trouble for doing things that are illegal. Anyway, they wanted to have children who are here legally but are not actual citizens yet.
Wait, what?
They wanted the children who are here legally, not just illegal immigrants, but immigrants or refugees who are here legally, who are not hurting anyone. Their families are not hurting anyone,
No,
and
I know.
they're not taken from the system.
I know quite a few.
Yes. The legislature here wanted to, and the state Senate here passed a bill that would have required, if they couldn't prove citizenship in the United States, that school districts have to charge the parents.
I'm sorry, what?
And that defies the Constitution. It defies...
Oh, there's a lot that defies the Constitution happening.
So anyway, fortunately, when it came time to go to the House of Representatives, it was like at the 11th hour before they stopped for the summer, right? And when they started looking at the cost of the bill, the fiscal aspects of the bill, then they started going, especially with the fact that the federal government is not going to be spending as much money and sending as much money to states for education. You know, they're decimating anything and everything that's out there.
Yeah.
So it's on hold. But I love our school district here because basically what they said was, we'll charge them a penny.
Aw. I love that.
I'd have gone out with a whole bunches of rolls of pennies
and just
been
handing them out. Hell yeah. I love that.
Because at the end of the day, who are we hurting when we don't educate children? We're hurting the children.
Yeah.
But we're hurting other people because those children grow into adults. And if they're not given the opportunity to be exposed and to learn and to have exercise and nutritious foods, a lot of times what they get in school
is usually their only meal.
And, there's just so much that could be going into this. It's just, I don't know.
Well, it's interesting because I've seen many people speak about the fact that there is so much money out there that we really do have the resources to end homelessness, right? Or to end
hunger.
Yeah. There are billionaires that absolutely have the resources to do this, and they've already done it. I can't remember I can't remember if it was Finland or another great country. I might be wrong.
Finland is the happiest country in the world because they take care of their people.
Well, I can't remember which country it was, but I know that they ended their homeless crisis. And I was reading about how they did it, and I'm like, wow, well, okay. Well, if they can do it, we're supposed to be the greatest nation on earth? I don't.
Well, we're a nation of blaming others.
Oh, yeah.
So it sort of speaks to what's happening around DEI, right? Diversity, equity, and inclusion speaks to anyone who is not a cis white male.
Right.
And at the end of the day, it is, if you are told the reason you don't get a job or that you lost out on a job was because of DEI practices, is it? No. I don't hire based on that.
No.
I mean, if I have two equally qualified candidates, qualified,
right,
and I'm giving them a score before I hire them,
right,
I may give someone an extra chance because I know they come from a background that has meant they've had to work harder to get where they are.
Right.
But that doesn't mean I'm necessarily gonna hire them if they aren't more qualified.
Right.
I'm gonna hire the people who they're the most qualified.
Absolutely.
So it's just kind of like...
Which is, I just want to say, I find it really entertaining that they're trying so hard to get rid of immigrants or brown people in general, because
BIPOC.
yes, but I just want to say that all of the strawberries and cherries and blueberries that all the cis white people out there love to eat and put in their pies and all that bullshit, y'all aren't going to be the ones going out there picking them.
Well, and now he's backtracking on that.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes. It came out that he is saying, well, we're going to send them back to their home countries, but then we're going to bring them back.
That's not a
thing. To help with in our hotels and on our farms.
Oh, so what they've been doing? So we're going to send them back to come back to what they've been doing already to what the
Well, and when you look at the majority of crime, it is not done by immigrants.
No, I just want to say that the last shooting was a white male and his mother was a sheriff.
Well, when you look at all of the mass shootings, the majority of them, if you put them all in a bucket,
yeah,
and you figured it out, it's kids who've experienced some form of adverse childhood experiences. There is something that's going on while they're growing up that has created the situation that is causing them to do what they're doing. Either they were bullied, or they were abused, or they were neglected. This
last kid, though, I haven't heard enough about him to know why he...
Something happened.
Yeah.
Something. Who knows?
Yeah.
But, at the end of the day, something is going on in their brains.
Right.
So instead of pulling funding from research that's looking into brain development...
Right.
And diseases...
Real diseases. By the way, autism is not a disease.
It was Finland.
It was. Yeah, go me! Woohoo!
If we could only move there, they won't let us though.
Move there. Well, yeah, I mean,
maybe they'll open their borders.
Maybe.
I don't know. I just, it is unimaginable what's happening.
It is unimaginable. I did not, as a kid, think I would grow up to experience this level of adversity. And
well, it's not just adversity. It's
terror, honestly.
It is
fear.
It's terrorism. And Senator Murkowski from Alaska, the great state of Alaska, actually mentioned that the reason more moderate Republicans aren't standing up, even though they don't agree, is the fear of retaliation.
Oh, yeah.
And when you are operating out of a place of fear, then you are no longer living in a democracy.
No, we're living in Germany. Well, sorry, we're living in Anne Frank's Germany.
We are living in moving in the direction of not being a democracy. I don't know exactly what we'll look like.
We'll be under a dictator.
Well, he's not yet, but he's trying to be.
Yeah, what happened to checks and balances? Where did those go?
Well, he's trying to make them go away. And the other thing that's amazing to me is how all of these pastors of these mega churches that profess that they
the ones
are
that make
Christian,
all their money off of their churches, the ones that, I'm sorry. Listen, you can be whatever religion you want. Happy. I love that for you. Great. Don't push it onto somebody else, and don't let it be the reason that you don't like Jesus over there, which, funny enough, translates into Jesus. Sorry, I just realized that. Jesus just came to mind, and I was like, oh, that's Jesus.
It is. And they're going into Washington and taking these opportunities to have photo ops with the man who's currently living in the White House. And then going back into their congregations and sharing those photographs like it's a privilege. Let me tell you, he does not follow Jesus.
No. Well, many people who claim to follow Jesus don't follow Jesus. Many people who hear Jesus think he's a white man with blonde hair too, so...
And blue eyes.
And he's not...
Or hazel eyes.
Okay, well, the hazel maybe, but...
No
let's
hazel.
Let's be real.
He was from,
he had brown eyes, y'all.
Way brown.
Way brown. He was brown.
Very brown.
He was super brown. In fact, that's my favorite way to antagonize people who are extra Christian towards me. They'll be like, well, Jesus loves you, and I'll be like, Black Jesus?
Yeah, and it's sad because I have so many good Christian friends who don't believe this way.
Right. No, there are many who don't, and yet they're now, I'm sorry, but y'all are getting a bad name from the extremism.
Right, and it
That
has
is
created such divisiveness, even
big
within
time.
churches.
Yeah.
You know, that there are people who don't feel safe. And it's sad. It's
is
really
sad.
sad.
Well, it's sad that, you know, for me, like the other day, or a couple weeks ago, there was a protest, and I wanted to go, and you said, okay.
Oh, the one in New Orleans?
Yeah, but you said, listen, you're not going alone. And I'm like, I'll be fine. Why wouldn't you let me go alone? Like, it'll be
You
fine.
were mad at me.
I was mad, but it wasn't until I messaged a friend of mine, and I said, isn't this ridiculous? And his only response was, well, you are brown and tattooed. And I was like, okay, I see, okay. Yeah. And ICE doesn't see sanity. They don't see reason. They just see brown.
And they may mistake your tattoo for a gang tattoo.
For a gang tattoo, for a satanic cult, who knows?
Exactly. Yes. So, no, you're not going alone. Sorry.
Although I feel like after this podcast, we're very, people will know where we are, how we lean.
I think they already knew.
No, they already knew, but now you'll really know.
Well, and the thing is, I've never been highly... Well, I
Well,
shouldn't
here's the
say
thing.
that. I've become more high... That's right, Luna.
Yeah.
I've become... Luna wants me to play with the ball. She has decided it is now playtime.
Well...
Or Yaya has the ball, and it is now playtime. So, if you didn't hear that, it's because I was throwing the ball.
We have... Yeah, so what divides us now is not our political views, but our ethical beliefs.
It's our values.
It's our values, absolutely.
Right. It's what we value. And for me, those values have been... Because I can remember... thinking, being part of or looking at being part of the Young Republicans, because I do think we have fiscal responsibilities. Yet the more time that I've spent in the nonprofit world and the more research that I've done into social justice needs and the cost-benefit analysis, the more I recognize, the more we can prevent or mitigate at the earliest stages some of those issues that cost us so much in the long run,
right,
the better off we'll all be. That's sort of like the Affordable Care Act.
Right.
Good example, right?
Yeah.
Or those people who are like, well, I ain't voting for the Obamacare.
And it's like, honey...
But don't get rid of my Affordable Care Act.
Oh, honey,
it's
that's the same thing.
Right. Ignorance is not bliss. It's definitely not bliss. No. So health insurance companies recognize the cost savings from earlier interventions.
Right.
So they don't want to get rid of it at this point. It has helped them in the long run.
Right.
And so when you look at that, then you realize the more we can prevent things like adverse childhood experiences, adverse community environments,
right,
the less strain it's going to be on our economy later, because these are youth who are going to get caught up in the justice system and then become adults who are going to end up in the justice system. It is expensive for adults to be in the justice system. It's expensive for adolescents to be in the justice system. There's a cost to that. So why not put that money into the intervention when they're young? And yet that doesn't happen. There's a high cost to things like teen suicide rates, right?
Yeah.
A cost on families. And yet when we start removing all of the protections for our LGBTQ communities
or DEI communities,
it starts increasing that higher level of potential for mental health issues, which again puts a strain on our healthcare systems, which increases the likelihood that things like school shootings are going to happen.
Oh, I know.
It's unbelievable to me that these people are walking around. Anyway, it's
Y'all, this could turn into a political podcast real quick. I know, it kind of has, but this is our podcast, not yours. And so...
and we're struggling with it on a daily basis.
Struggling with it.
As a mother and a daughter. I mean, it's really scary for me as a mom, having a daughter who I can't allow to go to a protest on her own, who gets mad at me and slams the door because she's upset that, I won't let her go to the protest by herself.
Because I didn't understand how truly terrifying it is for people who look like me out there right now.
Yeah.
It is. It's wild. And I did not ever think we would get to this place. I grew up with believing that, we're all we don't have to necessarily all be equal, but we are, equal as humans, equal to have given the basic human decency to live, to be...
Well, that, yes. But there's equality, and I don't think equality is realistic. Equity is realistic. Mm-hmm. So if you think of it, equality being you're going to give everybody the same equal-sized box to look over a fence.
Right.
People who are taller will see over that fence.
Right.
People who are shorter won't see over it.
Right.
But if you look at what the needs are and you give them different size boxes...
Right.
It still allows everyone to look over the fence.
Oh, that's a good analogy. I like that.
It's not mine.
Oh.
It's one I'm stolen.
Oh, okay, well.
Because I use it in a PowerPoint.
Oh, nice.
Yes. So, but again, it really does make a difference when we look at things from not assuming where someone else is coming from, not assuming what their needs are.
Right.
Not placing my values on someone else.
Right.
I guarantee you those people in Washington don't want my values
they don't
much as I don't want theirs.
Yeah. Same. They definitely don't want mine.
And I'm not going to acquiesce to those. The more they push, the harder I'm going to fight.
Well, I think we saw that in a community that I work in this week. It was really nice to be able to feel supported at work after that happened, and to feel supported in the community, and to be a support to people in my community after that. But there was, we messed with the wrong community, an uprising and an uproar, because you can't keep coming after people. That's not sustainable. We will fight back.
Yeah, amen. It is not about any individual's ideologies.
No.
And the fact that these people don't honor science. And science is objective. Science, true science, looks at things through a lens of peer review, having research that has control studied.
Right.
So that we can see how things impact people on certain medications or with certain diseases.
Right.
And those people who don't have those interventions, and where does it work and where does it not work.
Right.
And misinformation is dangerous.
Big time. Big time. And we are living in a world of misinformation. So please, 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 if you're listening, whether you agree with us or not, do your research. There is going to be a lot of clickbait out there. There are going to be a lot of big headlines that are really just, what do you call them? When those headlines just kind of grab you, and I guess they're meant to shock you. There are going to be headlines that are going to be meant to shock you, and you're going to read them. And I need you to dig deeper than just reading the headlines.
Well, and not just reading the article. Not just seeing the headline and reading the article.
Go to sources and keep digging.
Right. And look at sources that are objective.
Yes, objective sources, absolutely.
Objective sources. Go
reputable
to the BBC.
Sources, yeah.
Go. I know people think the AP is not objective. The AP has been objective. Mm-hmm. They are just very aware of the fustercluck.
The clusterfuck?
No, the fustercluck. I was trying not to say it the other way.
Oh, well, we've already said the F word. It's fine.
I like fustercluck.
I like fustercluck, too. It's
I'm
kind of fun.
I'm going to start using it.
Okay.
The fustercluck that is coming out of the current administration. And Yeah, the reason that for example, the reason more people are being diagnosed with autism.
Yeah, let's
is not because
no, it's not because it's an epidemic. That's not a thing, right? No, but it is more inclusive in the DSM now. The DSM-5, I think, is what it is now.
Uh-huh.
There's more inclusivity as to what some of the behaviors are, that correlate with autism and the symptoms of autism in the DSM-5 than there were, I don't know, 20 years ago.
And I think as adults, some of us who have had socially awkward types of situations.
Well, some of us who are neurodivergent now are like, hey, you know what? Actually, I think I do. I'm going to go get screened.
Exactly.
I think I'm going to go get screened.
More people are being diagnosed.
As adults, which is,
and
again,
more parents are getting their children diagnosed.
Right. So they have the right supports.
Not because their children have extreme situations in terms of behaviors or social integration or whatever.
Not necessarily, right.
Right. They're just recognizing that there is some awkwardness, and what does that mean?
Right.
And how do they make sure that it's treated?
Supported.
Because you can't treat or support something.
Supported. I don't like treated.
Okay.
Because you can't, this isn't treatable. This isn't, this isn't a disease. This is something that needs supports.
Right. And well, that's true with any mental health issue or cognitive issue. It needs, there are certain cognitive behavior techniques that can address it.
And there are certain, I was reading an argument.
I think of those as treatment.
Yeah.
From a clinical perspective.
Absolutely. I can see that. And I do think, there are certain medications that, I have friends who get really anxious in situations, right? And have severe anxiety disorders, and they're on the spectrum, and so they do take anxiety medication.
So it's treatment and support.
Right, treatment and support. Yeah, to help them, just.
And those parents are realizing that and wanting to give their children as much opportunity for success in life, so they're getting them diagnosed.
Yeah.
Whereas before, when I was growing up,
you didn't say anything. You just shoved it under the rug.
Well,
you didn't talk about it.
Just thought they were a little off.
Right.
Yes.
And I just want to say, for people out there who are listening, and I'm just going to be an advocate of this, if someone tells you that their kid is autistic, please do not say, wow, they're really high functioning, because that is a huge slap in the face. So please just do your research. Be empathetic. Realize that there are so many different people out there in the world who see the world differently, and we need to do a lot better about really moving from a place of love and compassion.
Yes, amen. And I just am really disappointed, by the way, in Autism Speaks response.
So we don't talk about Autism Speaks. They're not a part of.
Oh my God! Their board chair said they were excited about JFK's interest in autism.
We have
to make sure the research is focused on the needs of autistic people and their families, and that we're not recreating research that's already been done. That was their response. He did push back on the sweeping generalizations, but
again, I think that's stemming from fear. It's like, I agree with everything I agree with some of what he said, and I disagree with some of what he said, and I think some of it is done out of fear, or not done out of fear.
It is unbelievable.
Because if you clap back at any point, what's going to happen? We don't know, and that's what's so terrifying.
It's really, really unimaginable.
Yeah, if you're out there on Mars listening, welcome to the fucked up reality show that is
The Fuster Club.
The Fuster Club.
I love that. I love Fuster Club.
I'd watch that show. We're in the show. God, terrifying.
It is.
Well, we promise to have a more uplifting episode for you next. No, we don't.
No, we don't. Why say that?
Wait. Because that's what we do these days. We promise bullshit.
Every week we're like, okay, what's the topic this week? But we're so immersed and in this dystopian reality or unreality or lack of reality that it's really hard to pull ourselves out and find a topic that isn't relevant to what's going on in the country right now.
Especially with what we do, both of our jobs are very much affected by what's happening in the country.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I run a nonprofit that is impacted by the lack of government funding right now.
Yeah. So
there's just so much that is out there that's scary and
it's exhausting. So we don't necessarily know what topics we're going to come up with.
Right. So we're spending so much time and energy trying to figure
out
what we can and figure out what we can do that we're behind the 8 ball. So we apologize if we're not being more,
structured.
Yes. But hopefully you guys will appreciate what we share and tap in and
listen in. And if you need someone to be a support, we're here. And if you need to just listen to people bitch, we're also here for that. You can listen to us do that.
Yeah, we're good at it.
Yeah, we are good at it.
We're really good. If nothing else, I did teach you that.
You did. And you taught me a lot. And if you are out there and listening for the first time, we hope you'll keep listening. We do promise to have entertaining episodes for you.
I think today was entertaining.
Oh, no, today is very entertaining. I'm just saying.
What do you mean?
I'm saying we keep that. I'm keeping a promise. I'm being Obama.
Can I be Michelle?
Sure. That's weird. But, that's a little weird, but sure.
Oh, that is weird.
Okay, thanks.
Ew.
Well, on that note,
that's what happens when the momster drinks the wine because the lark can't.
No, it's to be the sober one. Now we are going to wrap this up. Say thank you. We hope you will listen in. Please rate, review, and subscribe as long as it's good reviews. Don't be mean. And
well, you can give us constructive feedback.
Yeah.
Just don't be mean.
Right. That.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mean isn't needed.
No.
Facts are important though.
Yes. Facts are important. But I mean, if you're listening to a podcast, you can't say like, I don't like her voice. It's annoying. That's not a fact. That's an opinion.
Correct.
So.
Yeah. Have people said that?
No, not about, no.
About me?
No. I
don't trust that.
No.
You don't. You're the only one that checks. So have they said that?
No, they haven't said that about any of us.
Although I did hear I laugh too much.
You cackle.
I cackle. I do. That's who I am. I'm a cackler.
You're a witch. I love it.
I am the ultimate witch.
You are. Wouldn't mess with you. All right. So we are going to wrap it up. Please rate, review, subscribe, and share. Reach out to us. There's a little text messagey button on Apple Podcasts. By now, you should know our email address.
Oh, but say it. It's so much fun when you say it.
Okay, you can email us at larkandmomster@gmail.com, larkandmomster@gmail.com. And until next time, over and out.
Adios.
Amigos. And let's hope they stay in the country.
Please.
Yes. Okay, goodbye.
Please.
Goodbye.